Did you know that if you have an iPad, an Apple Pencil, and the app Procreate, you can color coloring pages digitally on your iPad? It's simple, it's easy, and it's convenient. In today's video, I'm going to share all the tips you need to get started. If you're interested, please keep on watching. Hello and welcome to Color with Kendi. Today's video is for beginners. If you've never colored coloring pages in Procreate, I'll tell you how to do it. I'll give you the basics. And also, if you are interested in the coloring pages that I am showcasing in today's video, they're all from my Holiday Magic bundle. You get 10 plus coloring pages. They're cute, they're adorable, and they're for all ages. So if you are looking for some holiday fun, it's the perfect bundle for you. I'm going to leave the link in the description and the pinned comment. Let's begin. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how to insert a coloring page into Procreate. So just open up a Procreate canvas of your choice, whatever size you want, and then tap on your wrench icon. This is your actions menu. Tap on add, and then tap on insert a file or insert a photo, depending on where you saved it. I generally like to save it to my camera roll, so that way I can just tap on insert a photo. And then select. And there we go. That will import your coloring page into Procreate. It's really that simple. Then I'm just going to tap on the layers panel, and here's our coloring page. So all of the coloring pages in my bundle actually have a transparent background, so that way you can change the background color quite easily. But sometimes when you get coloring pages, they do come with a white background. So I'm going to tell you how to color both of those styles of coloring pages. So now that you have your coloring page in Procreate, you can start coloring. You can select any pencil or any brush that you like. Select your color right here in the color menu, and you can start coloring. My advice is not to color in the same layer, because if you do, then what's going to happen is you're coloring over your line art. You're going to have to try to avoid the line art. I generally like to color in a different layer. So all you have to do is in the layers panel, just tap on it, tap on this plus, and then create a new layer. And you don't want that layer to be on top because you want your line art to show through, right? So you just want to take that layer and drag it and drop it underneath. So that way your line art is up at the top, you have a layer to paint underneath, and then you can paint and not worry about the line art disappearing. The next tip we're going to talk about is what to do if your coloring page is not transparent. So this one is transparent, so I can easily create a layer underneath and paint in it. But what if you have a coloring page which has a white background? This technique does not work. So let me show you what to do. So in this example, I have a coloring page that I have two versions of here. I have one with a transparent background and one with a white background. So let's say you have a coloring page with a white background. You put a layer underneath and then you try to paint, you don't see it. It's a very simple fix. All you have to do is go to that layers panel, tap on the layer with that coloring page with that white background, and then just change the blend mode. It's really that easy. Tap on N, and then you can change your blend mode to darker color. Do you see? It also works with multiply. And now you can paint, and you can paint much like it was a transparent background. So when it comes to coloring in Procreate, there are many different ways to do it. So the simplest way is just to select a color of your choice, select a brush of your choice, and then color in your objects, much like you would color a traditional coloring page. Not that different, just staying within the lines and coloring it. And I find this to be the most therapeutic way of doing it. It's very much like coloring on paper. Now, there is another thing that you could do if you want to make things a little bit quicker. You can color using something called the reference mode. So you can go to your layers panel, find your coloring page, which is right there, and then tap on it and tap on reference. So now what's going to happen is Procreate will use the line art in this layer as a reference. And whenever you paint in another layer, you can use color drop. So let me show you. I'm just going to create another layer And instead of coloring in by hand, I'm just going to drag and drop. So you see, it was able to refer to the line art above, that reference layer, and I am able to color it in this way. Typically, I don't like to use this because then you get color that is very flat. I love brushes. I have so many different brushes, as you probably have seen on my channel. So I like to color the old-fashioned way, but this is another way to color coloring pages. But something to remember is when you are using this reference mode, if you have a shape that is not completely closed, let's say there probably is a shape here that is not completely closed, this technique won't work. So let me see. Maybe this. See this shape here, the ear, the line art doesn't extend all the way. So if I wanted to color this in with this color and I did that thing, it would just go everywhere. So it doesn't always work, but there is a quick fix for this. All you need to do is go back to the reference layer and then you can just close that. And then you can do exactly the same thing again. And then you can drag and drop the color and it will stay within that shape. Now, the other thing you can do is once you have colored in a coloring page, you can always change the line art color, which is a really cool technique to give your work a little bit of a different look. So let me show you. So let's say I have painted that and now I want the line art around it to be a different color. You can redo the line art yourself, or what you can do is just go to that layer with the line art, tap on plus, and then make that layer on top a clipping mask. So now anything I do here will show up on this line art. So any color I add here will show up on the line art underneath. That's essentially what the clipping mask will do. So let's say I want the line art not to be black, I want it to be darker red. So I can get a darker red and then I can go in with a brush that is more opaque and then just, oops, that's a bit too big. Let's make it smaller. And there we go. That changed the line art. And this is something I like to do after I have painted an entire coloring page. Sometimes I like to go in and change the line art. It definitely changes the look. I still have a few more tips for coloring, and this tip I wanted to talk about the selection tool method. So let's say you want to color in certain items, let's say happy holidays, with a big brush. And the brush is so big, so it's going to be very difficult to make it small enough to color within the lines. There is another way to do this. Just tap on the ribbon. This looks like an S, not an S, it's actually just a ribbon. And tap on freehand and make sure you are on add. And essentially what you're going to do is you're going to draw in the shapes with the selection tool. So you're just going to zoom in and make sure that you are on the correct layer. And then you're just going to draw in the shape very carefully. And then you're going to close the shape by tapping on this node. This is a very light gray node. And now what you're going to see is everything that is not selected, you're going to see these diagonal lines. And whatever you have selected, you're going to see as white. And you can continue to add more and more shapes. You can tap on add there. And then you can continue to make the shapes for all of the other letters as well. So I've created shapes for the word happy. I'm not going to do holidays. I just wanted to show you how this technique works. But as you can see, what it's done is it's also selected the inner portion of all the letters. I want to remove that from my selection. So all you have to do now is tap on remove and then go in and it will remove it. And tap on the node, it will remove it. And then tap on that node and remove it. So now essentially we have a selection, and what you can do is you can select any brush you want now go to the brush library. Don't have to worry about it being small. It does not need to be small. It can be a really big brush too. And you could just start painting. And because we use a selection, we are only coloring in that selection. So that's another technique to use. Now I wanted to talk about what you can do is once you've colored in a few shapes and you want to add some more texture to it, you can definitely do that too. So I'm going to get out of the selection by doing this. And now I have the word happy in this layer. And let's say I want to add more color, more variety. I can do that by tapping on plus, making a new layer, and then making that a clipping mask. And now I can add lots of fun effects on top of this, and it will only show up on the word underneath here, the layer underneath. So I'm going to select this brush from my pencil set noise overlay. I'm going to go to pure white, and I'm going just to make light taps at the bottom just to kind of make it look like snow. And now I have created another texture on top. So that's another way of coloring. Another technique for using coloring pages in Procreate is to not even use the coloring page line art. So what you can do is just use the coloring page as a guide. So let me show you what I mean. So here I have the coloring page in one layer, and then I have a layer underneath where I'm going to paint. So I'm going to go to the coloring page, tap on N, and reduce the opacity so that now I just kind of see it. It's a guide. And I am not going to use the final line art in my painting. And then I'm just going to paint here. So as an example, let's just color in this heart. I feel like everything I'm coloring in is red. It is the season. So I'm just going to go in, let's see, soft pencil. And just color it in. I could do the exact same thing with the rest of the painting, and our final work will not have the line art. And that's also a different way to do it. It just creates a different look. So depending on what you want, there's so many different ways to use a coloring page and so many different ways to color it. And it's just about having fun. And I think if you are starting out in Procreate, using a coloring page is probably the easiest way to start out, because you don't have the pressure to draw your own drawings. And you can just focus on coloring, which I feel is the most fun part. And since you have watched this video till the very end, you get a special code, which is on the screen, and you can use that to get a discount on the bundle. Happy holidays. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year. Bye.